Hey, what's up guys? In this video we're going to talk about final keyword in Java. Final is a keyword in Java. It can be used with variables, it can be used with methods, and also it can be used with classes. Now we're going to talk about how we can use the final keyword with one variable in Java. To create one final variable, first we have the final keyword, then the data type of the variable like integer, and then one name to the variable. Usually the final variable has to be in all uppercase letters. So we can create one final int age and we can assign one value to the variable. So once we create one final variable, that means the variable is a constant now. Whatever the value it has, we cannot modify or change the value of the variable after we initialize that variable with one value. So there are three ways we can initialize one variable. We can directly initialize the variable at the time of declaration, or we can first declare one variable like final int age, and then to initialize that final variable we can create one instance initialization block inside of which we can initialize our final variable. And there is third way we can initialize variable. We can use the constructor of the class, like if we have one constructor called test and which is taking one parameter, then that parameter can be used to initialize our final variable. So in Java, while using the final keyword with one variable, that means the final variable is a constant. We cannot modify or change the value of the variable after initialization. And there is three ways we can initialize one final variable. We can directly initialize that at the time of declaration, or we can first declare it and then we can use instance initialization block and initialize that final variable later on in our program. Or we can first declare it and then we can use the constructor of the class to initialize that final variable. So in this example program we have one class called test, and inside of the class I'm going to create one final variable. So first you have the final keyword, then the data type of the variable like integer, and then the name of the variable. Because this is one constant or final variable, the notation to final variable is it should consist all uppercase letters. So our variable should have all uppercase letters. We can initialize the final variable at the time of declaration, or we can declare it now and we can initialize that final variable later in our program by using instance initialization block. Instance initialization block is nothing but two pair of curly braces, and inside of that curly braces we can initialize our final variables. Or there is one third way, we can first declare it and then we can use constructor of the class which will take one parameter and then we can assign that parameter to our final variable. So now I'm going to create one object of the test class and I'm going to pass one parameter to the constructor, and then I'm going to use the print method and print the final variable onto the console. So I'm going to save the program and I'm going to compile and run the program. And you can see the output of the final variable has been printed onto the console. So we use the final keyword to create one final or constant variable in Java. And once we initialize that final variable, we cannot change or modify the value of that variable later on in our program. So hope you understand the concept of final variable in Java. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.